I'm going to begin, guys, by asking if you ever considered a solo Batman movie before launching into Batman v Superman.
I think we were deciding what to do after Man of Steel. And when we were starting to think about what would be a great villain for Superman, Zack was like, you know what I really want to see? I want to see Batman and Superman together. So that's kind of where, once you said that and we talked about it, I think we all really liked that idea, and that was our development path.
Yeah, we were really focusing on how would we follow up Man of Steel, and he became a natural extension of that discussion.
Because, I mean, the casting of Affleck was one of the sort of big talking points in the build-up to the movie, and he's excellent in the role. I was just wondering what it was you felt was perfect about him for this role of Batman, and you can't just say he had a good chin. But he does have, and I was just wondering if the chin...
Even though he did have a good
chin.
He has a great chin. But when you're casting, do you have to take the chin into consideration?
You do think about the chin, and it was also important... You know, Zack wanted someone who would be taller than Henry, and Henry's a pretty big guy. But I think most important, we were looking for an amazing actor, which Ben is, but also someone that was older, more seasoned, someone who could play this kind of more jaded version of Batman, crustier, disillusioned, and Ben really fit the bill.
I asked that I read that he asked to keep the suit. I was wondering if that was the case and if you let him.
We can't comment on a rumor like that.
No. You ready? I've got some more rumors coming up later. But I was wondering if you guys ever keep any kind of memorabilia from a project.
Of course, yeah. You know, once the shooting's done, once you know that you're not going to go back and have to pick anything up, if there's enough for the archives of Warner Brothers, so that they can have, if they need it for publicity, or if we make another film, then occasionally we get to pick something out and keep it.
I was wondering, I mean, Marvel, which is probably a bit of a dirty word in this room, but I was wondering, they sort of thrive in their irreverence and the kind of more playful approach, and I find the DC films they're sort of more moody, a bit more kind of dark, I guess, for use of a better word. But I was wondering if that's a kind of deliberate move, as if almost to differentiate between the two and have such a stark contrast in styles.
I don't know if it's, it certainly isn't, purposefully to be different between Marvel. We just have gone down a path that where we've tried to create characters that one can feel have some real, real relatable attributes or faults, and we've also tried to place them in a world where real events happen, and that in its way does have a certain kind of gravitas to it. But we also try to make sure that there's a lot of spectacle and fun in the films too. And that's just the path that we've gone down. That
must be one of the biggest challenges of every passing movie, is to find that sort of balance between the sort of realism, the fact that this has got sort of real newscasters in the movie, for example, and also that kind of supernaturalism that we need in films of this nature.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we loved having the reporters because it gave a lot of real life context, but at the same time, we have these characters that can fly and have, golden magic lassos, and, so I think you kind of just do what the story, needs, but we try and have both.
And I was wondering if you guys saw Deadpool and what you think the implications of that movie could have on the superhero genre, because it ridiculed it to such an extent that I was wondering if you think there will be sort of ripples into the sort of future projects.
I think that Tim Miller made a really great movie that had a very distinctive, strong point of view, and the fact that it was different and R-rated and irreverent, I think, is great, because we don't want these movies to be the same. We want them to be different, because then it just gets boring. So I think I'm really happy that people responded to that.
And one of the reasons that we've done our best to try to get very interesting filmmakers involved in the other movies based on the DC Justice League characters, from David Goyer to Patty Jenkins to James Wan, is because we feel it's important that we not only do everything that we can to have a certain, freshness and different point of views represented in the movies. We think it also makes the films more interesting.
I was wondering how much you have to take the fans into consideration when making a film of this nature. Is that quite difficult to navigate your way around? Because I guess in many regards you just want to make a film that you feel very happy with. But can their kind of their enthusiasm ever be sort of quite suffocating to a project, or is it very easy to sort of draw a line between the two?
Well, listen, I think it's amazing that fans, especially comic book fans, are, I think, the most vocal, and they really care about these characters. And, we don't want to let them down. We want to do justice to them too. So in that way, I think that we want to do our best with these characters. At the same time, it's all about the story you're trying to tell, and it starts with a great script. And as you're working on it, you just have to focus on what that script needs and how you got to get from A to B.
I was wondering about, in regards to Jesse Eisenberg, I was wondering who he... Because I read that Zack said that he had auditioned for another role beforehand. Right. I was wondering if that was something you were allowed to divulge, or do you prefer not to?
You mean what the role was?
What the role was he auditioned for?
No, we don't want to talk about what the role was, but he did. It was more like a cameo.
Okay.
But he was so good at the little thing that he did. It was really just a conversation that we started to talk about how it would be great to contemporize Lex, make him different than the Lexus that we've seen in the past, but still also make him believable. And we felt that Jesse was a great choice.
And do you think we'll see him
We're glad that he thought he was a good choice.
So do you think we'll see Lex in Suicide Squad?
I can't discuss that with you. That's another rumor I can't.
I know, terrible.
Was that a rumor out there? I didn't even know.
In regards to sort of Justice League Part 1 and Part 2, I was wondering, is that going to be one big story, or will they kind of be two very individual movies?
Well, all of the stories that we're doing now have a certain connectivity. But I think if it's going to be JL1 and JL2, it will have some, maybe even more continuity.
My final question is just on the current status of Man of Steel 2 and whether Zack is sort of going to be on board to direct that one as well.
Well, we haven't really talked. I mean, right now we're a little busy because we start shooting Justice League 1 in 2 weeks. So we're really working on that movie, especially given that we have all the press to do. It's kind of our main focus right now.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey